What's going on, Summoners? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Khazix, and in this video, we're talking about the 11 best champions headed into Season 11. If you haven't been playing the preseason, you gotta watch this video. It'll catch you up to speed on everything you've missed so far. Before we get into the video, I want to let you know we're starting a huge giveaway over on our Discord server. We're giving away Riot points, coaching sessions, ProGuide points, ProGuide subscriptions, and more. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is sub to the channel, join the Discord in the link below, and then follow the steps in the giveaway section. Alright, now let's get into it. First up, let's talk about the top lane with the return of a warrior so many of us hate to play against, but I personally love to play, Pantheon. Yep, he's back in the top lane now, though his support days aren't completely behind him just yet. The preseason featured a ton of changes to Pantheon aimed at pushing him out of the support role and trying to buff his solo role instead. Riot wasn't happy with his disproportionate off-role popularity in the support role, and their vision for him was more for solo lanes. They want a solo lane brute, but not an OP support. Well, they got their wish, cause he's an OP top laner now. Okay, that's not entirely true, he's also an OP mid laner. Being pushed into the solo lanes means that he has lost a bit of his versatility in regards to his shield utility. In return, we did get an incredible amount of damage buffs, and what top laner doesn't like damage? It helps them win fights outright and assert their dominance in lane during those 1v1s. With how unforgiving top lane leads are, Pantheon has risen as a stat check champion who still retains a decent amount of versatility and mobility in his kit, especially with that ultimate. As a mid laner, he instead uses his incredible damage to scare off enemies and then creates side lane pressures with said ult. Another reason he's so powerful is the mythic item Eclipse, and if he didn't have to use that giant spear, he could fittingly wield this blade in its place. Eclipse's mythic bonus stat is armor penetration, meaning that as Pantheon finishes more of his items, he'll naturally cut through any defensive stats that his enemy builds. Oh yeah, and amongst those changes he got, his ultimate now provides massive armor penetration as well, on top of that an initial burst of damage. Yep, he's nuts. There's been tons of changes to champions, but one thing I want to hear from you guys is, which champion are you planning on spamming once the season starts? It can be one of the champions on this list, or just any champion that you personally love. Either way, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, let's talk about our next champ. With all the crazy changes this new season, there's unsurprisingly one solid pillar in the top lane who hasn't wavered at all. Camille has always been a very adaptable pick, and that's her whole theme anyway. Also, sword legs. As one of League's most versatile champions, the Season 11 item updates have especially been amazing on her. With so many options to choose from, Camille is able to optimally adapt to any situation, and she's remained as one of the most reliable picks since last season. Of course, Season 11 is looking no different, as she's been the preseason favorite for high elo top laners. Because she's so reliable and Camille players manage to innovate their ways around bad matchups, she's looking like another solid pick heading into Season 11. With how diverse items are now, there's plenty of items you can tech into the build, the most notable being the switch from Trinity Force to Divine Sunderer when you need some extra sustain. The biggest issue you might find playing Camille, however, is that she has a rather high but justified ban rate in high elo. Also, if you're lower elo, put some practice into her, she is hard to master. Next up, headed into the jungle, the first champion we'll talk about is Graves. Again, with him, the item updates are an amazing blessing for Graves. There's so many mythic item options for him, and that gives him so much versatility in his build. Eclipse was the dominant choice for him during preseason, but as we're heading into Season 11, Gale Force has actually been an item that a lot of top-ranked players are using. As a side note, we've also noticed countless pro players spamming games with Gale Force on him. This is promising because it shows that Graves is going to be a champion where one build isn't always going to be the right for every game. If you got a squishy enemy team comp, go for the lethality. If you need that extra bit of mobility, go for Gale Force. Either way, you're doing damage. Next up in the jungle, we got Khazix. Khazix has always been a solo queue terror. He makes picks with his immense damage, and his ability to cast his stealth multiple times during a fight creates a ton of confusion and terror. Once he's got you where he wants you, you're going to have a hard time escaping him as well because of his passive and W slows. Well, what Season 11 has done for Khazix is that everything that makes Khazix difficult to play against can now be purchased additionally through items. Believe me, Duskblade of Drakthar is an absolute dream for Khazix players. Not only do they have his ultimate for stealth, but Duskblade also grants invisibility when you're able to score quick takedowns. Not even joking, counting to 3 was already pretty difficult amidst hectic teamfights. At some point this season, you're bound to lose count of how many times a Khazix is able to turn invisible during a multi-kill. With a blend of ultimate charges, as well as the stealth granted by Duskblade of Drakthar, Khazix can now spend a very generous amount of time stealth. Season 11 promotes the utter chaos Khazix brings to the table, and things are looking even better than before for him. Moving on, let's talk about mid laners. At the very start of preseason, things were already looking pretty promising for Echo. Well, as a mid laner at least. Part of what made Echo so strong in the past was his versatility and the fact that you could flex pick him to go either jungle or mid lane. Go back even further and you could even pick him up in the top lane as well, but we don't want to talk about tank Echo. That's not the only thing that makes him strong right now though. He's also a great pick overall with plenty of mobility, safety, and even playmaking potential with his high burst damage and ability to turn back time to get out of sticky situations if he finds himself in them. Well, most of them. Just make sure to press your R so you don't end up in a biggest misplays of all time montage that we may or may not feature in a future video. A lot of Echo's items got buffed, and even though Kale managed to get Lichbane nerfed twice, it's still a pretty solid purchase on this champ. The fact that last season's Proto Belt got buffed up and changed into a mythic item has left Echo feeling so much stronger than before, with even extra mobility and damage with this mythic item. Also, the magic penetration bonus doesn't hurt either. Overall, his items feel stronger, and Echo was already a powerful pick last season. He's also got a massive, and I mean massive, buff to his jungle clear speed during the preseason. I'd say Echo is easily one of the best mid laners in the game, but since you know a locked Echo can also head into the jungle as well, the draft phase is going to be so much harder for enemy teams. Pick this up in solo queue, but also look out for this in pro play. At the start of the preseason, we had another AP assassin who was ridiculously broken as well with Fizz. Well, they nerfed him, but guess what else? He's still broken. Amongst the only certainties we have in life is this. The only thing you can call balanced about Fizz is the fact that he can balance himself atop of his trident while pressing E. But of course, that's not the only type of balance we want to know about as players. Fizz has plenty of item choices, and while his core build remains the same as before, he's got a ton of ways to express himself through mythic item choice. Items like Night Harvester, Leandry's Torment, and even Hextech Rocket Bill all add a little bit of flavor to Fizz in different ways. High elo players know this as a fact as well. He's been a quick ban for them for the entire preseason, and we're sure he'll remain that way through Season 11 as well. If you've been hiding under a rock out of fear of the unknown and have finally decided to dip your toes into the vast, scary, and shark-infested ocean that is Season 11, just know that Fizz is lurking in the waters. Alright, next up, we got the bottom lane. Arguably one of the best bot laners for Season 11 is everyone's favorite AD carry, Jhin. While Lethality Jhin became a meme because of how good it was, Jhin is still proving himself to be an amazing pick headed into Season 11. Even item nerfs aimed directly at Jhin haven't fully taken him out of the meta just yet. With new builds, Jhin is proving to be a force that you do not want to mess with. If he's not your #1 pick for the bottom lane, he should be at least in your top 3. Trust me, any lower and you might want to relook at those stats. One item that helped Jhin out a ton is the Collector, which has been a perfect addition to his arsenal. The variety of stats it provides is perfect for Jhin. He gets damage, crit, and even lethality. All of these stats are universally powerful on Jhin, no matter what build you go on him. Its active effect has also bolstered Jin's power level. Executing low health enemies comes in so clutch with those 4th shot autos. When enemies would other escape with something like 10 health and you're helpless there left to reload, well, this item now allows Jhin to cash out with the, that was close enough kind of mentality. One of Jin's weaknesses has always been his reload system. Inevitably, because his autos are slower but deal incredible damage, he'll almost always overkill enemies and have to waste a lot of time afterward as a result. Imagine that 10 health Soraka jogging away and trying to escape. Her team is close by and you're on your 4th shot, so of course you have to unload your 4th bullet on her and crit for that 1000 damage, even though most of it is wasted. While it may be satisfying in the moment, it's going to put you in a sticky situation, and having that execute handy with the item will instead ensure that these sort of situations occur less frequently. With the mythic item Gale Force on top of this, he gets extra mobility, extra crit, and just insane amounts of damage. With all the new items, Jin's past weaknesses have been covered. Another marksman that's going to be strong in Season 11 is Miss Fortune. Like Jhin, the Collector does wonders for her with its impressive stat line. On top of this, she can also activate the Collector's effect with her ultimate and even her E. Securing those kills is made so much easier with this item, but more importantly, the item provides everything else that she wants in terms of stats. Like Jhin, Miss Fortune typically likes builds that don't focus on attack speed because she already has that W attack speed steroid. Unlike him, however, it's not like attack speed is bad on her. While lethality items were nerfed for ranged champions, Miss Fortune is still doing very well with these one-shot builds, and it makes sense as she's a marksman that's more known for her abilities than her basic attacks. Regardless, other new items like Serilda's Grudge are also great on her, adding in some extra slows while also providing her that well-needed armor penetration. Essentially, Miss Fortune is the same champion as before, but has some insane powerful items that synergize exceptionally well with her playstyle now. The final marksman pick we want to mention is Kaisa. Kaisa is a truly blessed marksman with hybrid damage. Not only is she mobile, but she also deals an insane amount of damage. Based on her build, you can adapt to either physical or magic, and that's been part of her niche from the beginning. She's able to thrive under most circumstances, and with the introduction of Kraken Slayer, she also throws true damage into the mix as well. Itemizing against Kaisa has gotten so much harder, and she's been winning a lot of games during the preseason as a result. At ProGuides, we've always valued Kaisa highly as a pick because of her kit, but we think that Season 11 is going to be especially good for her. Well, until they decide to nerf her a bunch. There's a bunch of different builds you can use on Kaisa now, and with the massive changes to Guinsoo's Rage Blade, AP builds have taken a completely different turn. With that said, let's wrap it up with supports. Alright, I know that you already know champs like Leona and Thresh are OP. They're always, literally always good solo queue picks. These two titans are ones everyone already knows about, and I don't think we need to talk about them anymore. So instead, let's talk about my personal favorite champion, Bard. No, I didn't have to fight anyone to put this on the list. We all agreed he is looking good in Season 11. That beautiful red mythic item that shows up in the shop's display is perfect for him. And you know I'm talking about Imperial Mandate. You're totally entitled to disagree and think Mandate is overhyped, but I'm going to tell you that, at least on Bard, it is really good. At the bare minimum, you have to understand that it makes him so much stronger than before. We all know Bard is one of the supports who hits like an absolute truck. He had to go through a lot of nerfs to keep him in check, and it took a while to figure out the perfect mythic item for him, but trust me, if you're an alpha support trying to find those kills, Imperial Mandate is your item. It applies on slows, and it's honestly just unfair that Bard automatically gets slows with his auto attacks when he has his meep up. The kill pressure is immense, and another great change was that Dead Man's Plate received movement speed as an actual stat on it, rather than storing it all in its passive. Trust me, us Bard players love to roam around the map, and more importantly, run away from opponents while leading them into wild goose chases. He's without a doubt going to be an insane pick that you definitely want to look into. Who knows, maybe we'll do a whole video about him sometime in the future. Finally, we've got everyone's least favorite support in the preseason, Maokai. Thresh, Leona, and Maokai complete the holy trinity of supports right now. Kinda crazy, honestly, because I never thought I'd see Maokai support take a top spot again. Been a while since he was really popular, but with the new items, he is good yet again. Playing against it is so oppressive once he manages to get control of the brushes. You never know when one stray sapling might pop out and murder you. In a way, they're even scarier than Maokai himself sometimes. But a big part of why Maokai is so strong once again is because of, again, Imperial Mandate. Every single one of Maokai's abilities, all of his abilities, let me repeat that, every single one of Maokai's abilities applies crowd control, and this item has made him an even stronger support than we could have imagined. On top of this, Liandry's Torment was upgraded into a mythic item, so to make sure champions could still access burn damage without building it, Demonic Embrace was added to the game as well. It's a battle mage item that provides health, resistances, and that juicy burn that we all know and love, and suffer because of. That item is also an excellent buy on Maokai, and to top things off, you can even build Oblivion Orb for fast access to healing reduction. Everything has worked out for AP Maokai support, and he's a top pick for Season 11. Just remember, your AP, not really that tanky, so play with that in mind. And that's going to conclude the best champions going into Season 11. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure to check out our Discord so that you can join the conversation and let us know who you think is the best champ going into the new season. We want to connect with you guys, and also we have tons of events for you there, especially some really cool ones coming up that I'm excited to be a part of, so I'm looking forward to talking with you then. Happy grinding, good luck on the Rift, and as always, stay hydrated. I'll see you next time.